Joe and I tried to go on our bike ride today, but the winds stopped us. Take a listen. This is the last montage video that I'm putting up before Thanksgiving, and because we have the turkey already done and all the side dishes and some desserts, welcome to the Bear Pantry Show. If you want to learn how to cook in simple steps and have your dishes come out great the first time, then you're in the right place. Learn to make restaurant-style meals, comfort foods, and authentic Belizean dishes from basic ingredients. It was only gusting up to 30 miles an hour, but I can't ride in that because it's going to blow me right off of the trail. So let's get right back into our video montage. Today's video is going to be all desserts, all right? The first one up is cheesecake. 4-ingredient no-bake cheesecake is the easiest dessert you can make for any occasion. With its silky smoothness and creamy texture, it will tantalize the taste buds. Don't worry if you don't know how to use the oven because there is absolutely no baking involved. All you need is patience because it does take 3 hours to set. Let's see what 4 items we'll need. 4 ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4. No bake cheesecake. Real easy, all right? So let's start with the first ingredient. I already washed off the tin. This is 1 can, 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. So just now I took some lemons that we got from the neighbor's tree and I just squeezed it in the lemon thingy. And normally if I get the lemons from the store I need like 3 or 4. This time I needed 1.5. And I got the 1/3 cup. So 1/3 cup of real lemon juice. 1 pack of original cream cheese. Don't get that low fat stuff, alright? If you're going to be eating the cheesecake, eat it the right way and be done with it. So just let me get this open. I'm cutting the cream cheese into large cubes because I find it a lot easier to blend if I put the cheese in pieces, all right? You don't want to put the whole 8 ounces of cream cheese in one big slab into the milk and try to blend that because it's going to be hard. So now you can use a wooden spoon, but it's going to take a lot of elbow grease. So I'm using my hand mixer, and all I want to do is blend these 2 ingredients until it starts getting smooth. Let me go ahead and scrape my bowl down. And I'm going to add my real lemon juice a little bit at a time. And just keep blending until all the lumps disappear. We want it to be real creamy, all right? Let me add some more of my juice. So it's 1 can, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, any brand will do. 1 8-ounce package of original cream cheese, not that low-fat stuff or no-fat stuff. And 1/3 cup of real lemon juice. You can also add some vanilla extract to this, but I find that it's not necessary with this cake or pie. We're going to be using a graham cracker crust that I got from the store, so we don't need to do anything at all to it. But you can also make your own cookie crust by using any cookie that you like. A lot of the times we'll use white Oreo cookies around Christmas time, or even the regular Oreo cookie to just make a crust and put it in like a spring form pan. But right now I'm just going to make this easy because Jada's going to take this over to a party and I don't want her to have to worry about bringing back my container. So this throwaway pan will work fine. Now let me go ahead and clean off my beaters first, of course. We don't want to waste anything. And then carefully pour my batter into the crust. And it's so thick, guys. It smells so delicious. It's creamy. It's satiny. How else can I describe this for you, right? Let me go ahead and get it all out this bowl. So this will fit perfectly for this size pan. This is not a really huge pie pan. Get everything out. Now you can put toppings on this cheesecake, but you wouldn't put it now. You would let it set for a while and then put the topping. So you can do like cherries or blueberries from the tin, or you can do fresh strawberries, whatever you decide. But we're not going to put a topping because we don't like the topping on the cheesecake. So let me put the lid on, close up the sides because I don't want anybody to go in the fridge and mess with my cheesecake. Let me try to pinch some more of the sides here. Make sure it's closed really well. Now into the fridge it goes for at least 3 hours. See you guys in 3 hours. Yeah, we can cut Jada cake before she take it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we can totally do that. There's no egg in it. But I don't want to do that because why? I'm lactose intolerant. Hate my intestines. 3 hours later. Take a look at it, guys. So this is where you put the topping if you wanted to do topping. So let's cut before Jada takes it to the party. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it into 8 equal sized pieces because Jada is taking this to a party and I want to make sure that it's easy to serve. So now a lot of people asked me when I did this cheesecake before for YouTube if there's any way to get it even more firm. And it'll get a little bit more firm than this if you leave it longer in the fridge. But it'll never be like a baked cheesecake, alright? So, but look, see? The texture is amazing. I love a cold cheesecake. I don't like a warm cheesecake. And I just love that this cheesecake is not made with eggs. It's just, you know, 4 ingredients. Bet you guys never seen a cook on TV put the pie back in. You think I should rename that cheesecake recipe like 3 ingredient cheesecake rather than 4 ingredient, because the 4th ingredient is really pie crust, and you can absolutely buy the graham cracker crust at the store like I did for this one. What do you think? Joe doesn't care. Of course you can put topping. You can put like the cherries from the can and the blueberries from the can, stuff like that you can put on the top, but we don't put any topping because it's sweet enough. Now the next one is my favorite, apple pie. Let's get right into the video. Good old American apple pie. You know, when I first moved to this country from Belize back in the early 1980s, this was my least favorite dessert. But throughout the years, I've tried different recipes for the filling and for the dough until I finally came up with this simple but exquisite apple pie recipe. So for the filling, we're going to use fresh fruits like apples and real lemon juice. And for the dough, we're just going to use 4 ingredients. I want to show you guys a dough that's so simple that you guys are going to jump up and try it right away, all right? So we're going to use 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to show you how to make the dough twice in this video because I need one for the top and one for the bottom. 2 tablespoons of sugar, a stick of butter that's straight from the fridge because we have to dice it up into small pieces and work it into the flour, and then 6 tablespoons of milk, thereabouts. You might need 7, but 6 or 7 tablespoons of milk. And that's all it is to make the dough. You knead it up and you put it on the fridge for like 15 minutes. By the way, it's Christmas Day 2018. My dad's coming up for dinner. And although I have Belizean white fruit cake and black fruit cake, I am feeling for some apple pie. So this is what I'm going to go into the kitchen and make right now for you guys. Let's go. All right, guys, so you caught me on Christmas Day 2018. So let's take a look at the ingredients right here. So we're going to need 3 medium-sized red apple, not the green apples, all right? 2/3 cup of regular granulated sugar, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and it's not sifted, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a tablespoon of lemon juice, and 1 egg for the egg wash. And then we're going to need 2 pie doughs, 1 for the bottom and 1 for the top. Let me show you how we make the pie dough. This is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of regular sugar, a stick of butter, and 6 or so tablespoons of milk. You might need a little bit more. All right, so it's very easy to make the pie dough. I already have one made for you in the fridge because we're going to need to put it on the fridge. So if you were doing an apple pie, you could do a double recipe, but sometimes you may have the need for one just for the bottom, like for a cheesecake or something. And so that's why I split it up this way to show you guys exactly how to make it. So let me grab a knife so we could dice up the butter. All right, so my dad's here in the background and he goes, "What kind of milk?" I was like, you know, I just assume that everybody knows that it's cow's milk. But then again, if you're watching me in Belize, you might not know that, right? So it's not evap or condensed. It's just regular cow's milk that we have. And I'm just dicing up the butter. And you can use that pastry thing, but I don't use it ever because it's hard to clean. See, 4 ingredients: flour, butter, sugar, and we want to go ahead and work the butter into the flour. Then we're going to add the milk and then make the dough, put it in the parchment paper and put it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and work on the middle part. I washed the apples already, so I'm just going to go ahead and peel them. Let me peel the first one and show you how I cut this open. Cut off the bottom so it's flat because we don't want it to slip. Then put the apple core thingy, this little gadget, get that center piece out, and then just find the fat pieces and slice them a little bit thinner. And if you don't own one of the core thingies, then you're going to have to use a knife, and that's going to take a little while longer to get done. Let me go ahead, cut in half first and then in fours, and then you're going to want to slice off those middle pieces that have the hard parts and the seeds. And then of course cut the slices as skinny as you need for them to be. I like the pieces to be small, right? So even if you're using that apple core thing, you could always go and find some fat ones and cut them smaller. All we gotta do is toss it in a big bowl. To this, throw the sugar, the flour, the cinnamon. Remember, the egg is just for the egg wash for the dough, right? Get it worked around. And because I'm not using Granny Smith's apples, the green ones, I don't like using the green ones. They just don't have the right tartness for me in this pie. So because I'm not using that, hey, I'm going to use the lemon juice. So I'm just going to set this aside and pull out one of my dough and roll it out so I could put it in a greased pie dish. This is the first one that I did earlier in the video, and it's been in the fridge for about 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll it out. And remember, this dough is very forgiving, so it's not going to be falling apart on you, all right? Just flour the countertop really well. Roll it out kind of big, bigger than your dish that you're going to put it in. And then roll it up like this. Or you could roll it on the rolling pin, but this is easy to do. And the dish is greased. And just kind of unfold it in here. And I have one of these dishes that's already fluted. But I'll still show you guys how to flute, all right? Let me go ahead and set it in here. Work around the edges. Flute, you do like this. You're supposed to do like this. Push in with one finger and then do that. Or that, right? Either way you want to go, this way. But this pie thing already comes fluted. So that would be an easy choice for you guys, don't you think? Try to make things easy when you're baking and cooking, because then you're going to enjoy doing it more than if you try to learn all these techniques and then can't do it, right? So now we're going to do a lattice top on this pie. And I wish that there was something like a mathematical or scientific way that we could do that lattice top. I've tried to figure it out time and time again. And I'm just going to show you the easiest ways that you could do it if you don't want to plait it, all right? And for people in America, plait means braid. Let me just pretty it up a little bit more before we just toss this in. Time to put the filling in. And see, we didn't have to cook the filling on the stovetop, all right? It just goes in here like this. And so now we're going to work on the top piece. I've rolled out the second piece of dough. And I'm putting a big dinner plate that matches the top of my pie dish. And I'm just cutting a circle out. I lost my little knife. So this should be enough to cover that. Now, you could just take this and set it on top and just like cut slits, 4 little slits. That would be easy, right? But no, we want to make life hard, so we're going to do a lattice top. But I need to find that little knife so I could cut. Hold on a second. Just kind of eyeball it. I couldn't find my little paring knife that works better. And we're just going to slice up these laces. Now the simplest way to put these pieces on would be to go one direction and then just lay the other pieces on top, go in the next direction. But no, I want to be all fancy. So I'm just going to grab the pieces, every other one, off of the strip here on the counter and lay it going this way horizontally across the top of the pie. And then I'm going to get the pieces that are left on the counter and I'm going to go vertically. So now I'm just not going to lay them on the top like I told you just now. I'm going to plait them in between or braid them in between. And all we have to do is lift up the pieces and just put one over, one under, over, under like that. So now it takes a little bit of time, but for me it's fun because the dough doesn't break on you. That's why I told you we want to try a dough that's very forgiving. If I was doing the dough that's from the Belizean pie dough, we couldn't do this. So now see, I don't know any mathematical way or scientific way that I can tell you how to do this except to just eyeball it and just go one in, one out, you know, top, bottom, top, bottom. Now time for the egg wash. And I'm just going to go ahead and beat this here egg. And then go ahead and brush it on top of my pie dough. This is what makes it goldeny and crunchy. And look, there's stuff going on behind me while I'm doing the show, guys. Joe is being my sous chef today, and he's actually cleaning up stuff before we sit down and eat Christmas dinner. And then my dad's sitting there watching his westerns. And now I'm running into the laundry room to get sugar because I have to go ahead and put sugar on top. Yes. Now into the oven it goes. But I'm baking chickens right now. I don't know if this is going to work to put it in here with the chicken. Let's see. All right, so Christmas dinner is ready and the pie is ready too. But I'm going to tell you right now what happened with the pie, how I baked it, and how it came out. I think it came out good. Look, it's bubbling here still. All right, guys, so what you have to do is bake the pie at 425 for 20 minutes, but don't put the top shelf too high up in the oven, all right? And then lower the temperature to 350 for another 20 minutes. I didn't do that because we were baking these chickens in there, so I put it on the bottom, and at first the thing wanted to get soggy, so then I did it 20 minutes already at 350. I did the reverse. I did 20 minutes at 350 first, and I put it on the top and did 425 for 20 minutes, and look, it kind of wanted to burn here, but it's okay, it's still edible. But listen, ooh, this is ready. This is when I want it, when it's hot, it's crunchy. So note to self, 425 for 20 minutes, and then 350 for 20 minutes, and then it's done. All right, so I'm going to show you when we dive in. Right, take a look at it, guys. It is so good. Gorgeous. I bet you're wondering, where's Joe and Barbara going? Aren't they on lockdown? We came to the post office because somebody bought a couple of books and they paid for priority shipping, so we have to come right away. Did you guys like the apple pie? Oh my god, that was so good. And my dad was there for Christmas, but now he lives in Belize, so don't ask me where to get nothing because I don't know where to get nothing but Amazon, okay? Now we're gonna go into the next video, and it's gonna be simple chocolate cake, which is what we're making for Thanksgiving in 2 days. Let me go in. I wanted to tape all this segment before I go in because the wind's going to mess up my hair. I'll be back. First, I'm going to go ahead and sift the flour, and this is all-purpose flour. Then now I'm going to add my white sugar. This is regular granulated white sugar. And then the baking cocoa, the baking soda, baking powder. Let me get everything out of my little container. And then don't forget the salt. And then now whisk. So this is all the dry ingredients that I've put in this bowl. And I just want to make sure that it gets well mixed, alright? Now let me go ahead and take care of the wet ingredients. The milk. Vegetable oil. I'm adding water, but you can change your salt for brewed coffee if you'd like, alright? Let me go ahead and beat the eggs. Alright. And then now I'm just going to add it to the wet ingredients. Very simple cake, guys. Mix up the dry ingredients, mix up the wet ingredients. Oh, I don't have vanilla. I have not had any vanilla since I started to do this series of cakes. And I went to the store several times and keep forgetting to pick it up. I'm going to make a well if I can. And then just go ahead and pour the wet ingredients into the dry. I do it in thirds. Give this a stir. Okay, let me add some more. You guys get the idea, right? We're just mixing it until it's well incorporated, but I'm doing a little bit at a time because I don't want to make a mess. Okay, let me get the rest. Pour it all in here. Let me get a bigger whisk. I feel like that little whisk is too small. No, this one is big and pretty, but it's very flimsy, so I still have to be careful. Just want to make sure I mix this really well. The batter is going to be very thin, alright? Don't be nervous about that. Just make sure that you get all the dry spots. Let me check it. Yup. Now I'm going to eyeball and pour the batter into the 3 of my layered pans. And these 2 are powdered with the cocoa powder, but I ran out of cocoa powder, so I did this one with flour. And I'm just going to eyeball about 1.5 cups into each of the tins, alright? So I start with less first into each of the 3 tins, and then I go back over it. I thought I saw a dry spot just now, but I think it's just an air bubble. Put some in this one. And the cake for this one is not going to be as dark because I floured the pan with flour. Alright. So I think that's it. Let's top it all off. The oven is up to temperature at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I always put the 3rd pan on the 2nd shelf because my oven is not level. And if I put one in the back, it'll slope really badly, okay? So 30 minutes. Let's check on them. They don't take very long to bake because they're very thin. Let me get my wire cooling racks out. Now let me grab my cakes, guys. 1, 2, 3. So now let's go ahead and make the frosting. We're going to need baker's chocolate, and I use the semi-sweet kind. Now right here, this is 4 ounces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me open the other package. 5, 6. So I'm going to have 2 ounces left over. And what I usually do is pick up another box when I go to the store and then just have the 6 ready for when I want to do this cake again. So we're going to melt the chocolate over hot water. Meanwhile, let me take care of the butter. The icing sugar. And this should have vanilla again. But I'm still out, guys. Still out. Now it's been about 7 minutes or so. So let me go ahead and release the cake from the sides of the tin. And then dump it out. Alright, that one came out pretty good. Now this one's giving a little bit of trouble. So I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to let that cake come out when it feels like it. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's ready now. These two, the pans were powdered with the baking cocoa. That's why they're so dark. And this one was with the flour. So it's lighter. See what I've been telling you guys about powdering the pans or the tins with the baking cocoa? No, the chocolate is ready just like that. I didn't even have to mess with it. Let me cut the fire off. Mix my butter with my icing sugar. And I'm spooning the chocolate in a little bit at a time because the bowl is still so hot for me to pick up and mess with, even with a cloth. Now it's ready. Let me go ahead and pour all my melted chocolate in here. This cake is so good. This butter, I guess this is buttercream. Chocolate frosting is so good. And you notice I've done everything with a wooden spoon and with a spatula and a whisk, right? Now if the day is warm and this is not setting up quickly enough for you, you can put it in the fridge for a little while, but only for a little while, okay? 5-10 minutes tops, because it'll get stiff right away and you won't be able to spread it onto the cake. And the cakes are so tender that you don't want them to break up when you start putting on the frosting. So now I'm going to try to level the cake. I don't usually do this, to be honest, but because I'm trying to teach, I'm going to try to level the cakes, alright? Just cut off any slope that seems too high. Now see, I'm going to turn this cake on the pretty side to let that sit on the plate. So when you cut the cake, you have pretty sides from all corners, alright? Now I'm going to level off here. Okay, I think that's good. Put some of the frosting and just spread it very thinly. I don't like a lot of thick frosting in between the layers because I want all the frosting to be left on the top of the cake and on the sides. So put this layer bottom to bottom, or wrong side to wrong side, and spread it out. And then now for the top layer, okay, just go ahead and put the frosting. And don't worry, it looks like it's not going to be enough, but it's always enough. Kind of spread out the top part first, and then slope it down to the sides of the cake. Okay. Put some more here. And I don't know how to spread frosting smooth, so I'm going to make this cake messy, alright? So just put it onto the sides like this in a messy formation. And just make sure the whole thing gets used up, patching any holes you may see with cake peeking through the frosting. And now this is what I do to add texture to the cake. I just get a spoon and I start hitting it slightly or lightly to make these little peaks. And I do it all over the top and also on the sides of the cake. Like so, see? Now it's time to cut the cake straight down into two first. And I'm going to cut a big chunk out of it so you guys can see. It's coming, don't worry. I'm being very careful. 3 layers of scrumptiousness. It's pretty, right? Watching those videos with all the desserts got me so hungry, guys. We're going to be having the chocolate cake and the cheesecake for Thanksgiving. You can find the apple pie and the simple chocolate cake in this book, okay? Now, I want you guys to stay safe for Thanksgiving. Try saying that. And don't let nobody into your bubble. Don't go out. Don't worry about, oh my God, am I going to see family for Thanksgiving? You're going to have another Thanksgiving with them when this thing is all over, okay? Just stay safe and just hang on a little while longer and we're all going to make it through this, hopefully. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye. Remember, guys, we are not buying this book. Because if you do, the only people that are making money from that book are my ex-distributor and Amazon. Pick up this book instead. This is my Belizean cookbook. It has 120 authentic Belizean dishes that I've done on the show already, but now you can have it in print so you can follow along and your dishes will come out perfect each time. Hot off the presses, this is my second cookbook, guys. It's called the Pantry Laid Bare, and I named it that because I laid everything on the line when I picked the recipes for this book, alright? 111 delicious dishes from basic ingredients. To purchase, just check below on any of my videos and you'll see the different methods of payment and also the shipping. Thanks, guys. So it's 3 ingredients. Can he be any more loud and obnoxious? OMG. And he's got reindeer horns on his car. Let's go into the post office. Down at the Pantry Show. This is the best.